Hello students, welcome back. Myself Pushpendra Singh and we are going to start with our NCERT class. So today you have the 9th standard NCERT for geography. Okay, and we have already started the 9th standard geography. These classes are basically meant for those students who are preparing for the civil services examination as well as other government competitive examination, because you require to answer the few questions related to the general studies. Okay, so you can subscribe our channel on the YouTube and you can basically get uh, the NCERT based classes right on the YouTube channel. So you can subscribe the Future IAS and you will get on the daily basis the NCERT based classes. All right, so let's begin with the class. Okay, so we were studying basically the monsoon, right? Or we were basically studying the atmospheric phenomena over Indian subcontinent, right, during the monsoonal period of the time. So let's understand. First of all, I said in my last class that during the month of, right, in the month of May to June, what happens is, right, a low pressure was created over the Indian subcontinent, okay, or northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. This low pressure, extensive low pressure was created. This low pressure attracted the wind, right, from the oceans, right, which is basically coming out from the southern Indian Ocean. Okay, now these winds basically crosses the equator, right. When these winds were basically blowing, like, this is what is equator, this is what is equator. Okay, so this is 0 degree latitude. So when these winds crosses the equator, okay, at 0 degree latitude, now what happens is, as I told you regarding the phenomena called Coriolis force, because of the Coriolis force there is a deflection to their right. So these winds deflected to their right, right, like that. These winds also deflected to their right, right, and converted as a, these are basically southeastern winds. Now these winds converted as a southwestern winds, southwestern monsoonal winds, right. So this is the reason the same southeastern winds, right, converted into the southwestern winds after they cross the equator, and they basically impact the Indian peninsula as a southwest monsoon, as a southwest monsoonal winds. Okay, and here these winds again bifurcated into two branches. The first branch is called Arabian Sea branch, which flows all along the Arabian Sea. The second branch is called Bay of Bengal branch, which flows along the Bay of Bengal, right. So it is called the Bay of Bengal branch. So these indicated basically the direction of the rain bearing winds, which is basically coming out from the ocean, which is at comparatively higher pressure. And these rain bearing winds basically blow from the high pressure region to the low pressure region, right. All right, next, this shows the atmospheric condition over Indian subcontinent in the month of January, in the month of January. So what happens in the month of January? A reverse happens, a reverse happens. That means during the month of January an extended high pressure zone is created over the Himalayan region or over northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. Okay, now this high pressure zone, right, and there is low pressure zone created over the oceanic region, because ocean remains comparatively warmer even during the winter time also, right. Now what happens is, because of this temperature contrast, right, the high pressure zone is created over the land surface and the low pressure zone is created over the oceanic surface. Now what happens is, these winds started blowing from land towards sea, right. So here the wind direction is from northeastern direction. The winds basically started flowing this way. Now when these winds basically blow, they basically pick up the moisture from the Bay of Bengal and causes the rainfall on the Coromandel coast. This is the Coromandel coast on the Indian Ocean. Okay, so it causes the rainfall on the Coromandel coast, which is lying to the coastal area of Tamil Nadu and adjoining Andhra Pradesh. Receives the rainfall, right, due to due to basically the withdrawal of the monsoon, right, or due to the retreat of the monsoon during that period of the time, right. The winds blows from the land towards the sea, and when these winds blows, it pick the moisture and it basically causes the rainfall on the Coromandel coast, right, on the Tamil Nadu coast as well as adjoining Andhra Pradesh coast. Okay, let's understand about Coriolis force. So I told you about Coriolis force also. The Coriolis force is basically an apparent force, right, This force is generated because of the rotation of the earth. The earth rotate, right? There is two motions, rotation and revolution. Rotation on its axis. So it is because of the rotation the Coriolis force basically generate. This is basically an apparent and virtual force, right? Apparent force which is basically generated due to the rotation of the earth. Now what happens is, due to this Coriolis force, any moving object deflect. For example, this is the moving object in the northern hemisphere. I'm talking about the northern hemisphere. This moving object deflect to their right, or in the clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. So that type of movement is because of the Coriolis force, and that right side deflection or the clockwise movement is only happens, right, due to the Coriolis force in the northern hemisphere. Same thing happens if you have the southern hemisphere. Okay, take the second case. In the southern hemisphere, any moving object deflected to their left, or in the anti-clockwise direction, so such type of motion is also occurred due to the Coriolis force. Now you must understand, always in the northern hemisphere the deflection is always towards the right or in the clockwise direction. In the southern hemisphere the deflection is towards the left or in the anti-clockwise direction, This law is also known as Farrell's law, right, which is basically given by the Mr. Farrell. Okay, now any moving object means you may have the satellite, you may have the rocket, you may have the oceanic currents, you may have the winds, right? Any moving object will be deflected, right, to their right in the northern hemisphere and to their left in the southern hemisphere, right, with a force which is directly proportional to the mass of the wind in the question, is its velocity and the sign of latitude and the angular velocity of earth rotation. So it is again a complicated technical term, no need to bother about this one, but you must understand, because of the Coriolis force, it is the apparent force which basically deflected any moving object to their right in the northern hemisphere and any moving object to their left or anti-clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. Let's understand about the jet streams, right? Regarding jet streams, these are basically the narrow meandering swift winds, right? Narrow meandering swift winds, right? Narrow means these are something like that, right? And they are meandering. Meandering means they have sinusoidal movement, okay? And they found normally at the altitude of 12,000 meters above. That means they are almost found at the tropospheric level, right? And they have very high speed of the wind also. So they will move all around 110 kilometers per hour, and that the peak speed may be 184 kilometers per hour in the winter. Okay, so they are also dangerous for the navigation also sometime because of the jet streams. Okay, and the number of separate jet stream, we have identified. For example, you have the subtropical westerly jet. Okay, then you have the subtropical easterly jet. Westerly jet originated from the western direction to the west direction to the east direction. Easterly jet means originated from east direction to the west directions. Okay, so jet stream is basically the narrow meandering winds which are very high velocity, which are generally found at the altitude of 12,000 meters. That means almost at the tropospheric level. Okay, regarding Indian monsoon, right, the monsoonal winds strongly influence the climate of India. So that is why sometimes the geographers is also called the Indian monsoon, or the climate of India is monsoonal type of climate. It is because of the monsoonal winds have the strong influence over the climate of India. Okay, now the monsoonal winds normally experience in the tropical area, okay, roughly between 20 degree north to 20 degrees south. So in this tropical area, the monsoonal winds are found. Okay, so in between 20 degree north and 20 degrees south. And the mechanism of the monsoonal winds, you can say that to understand the mechanism, first of all, you must understand the differential heating and the cooling of the land. During summer and during winter. So for example, if you take during summer, what happens is, because of very high heating of the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent, now what happens is elongated low pressure zone is created. Okay, and high pressure zone remains on the oceanic side. So from ocean towards the land, a wind basically arises. That is basically in the form of southwestern monsoonal winds. Okay. During the winter time, what happens is there is again differential of heating and cooling occurs. The land is more, comparatively cooler, but the ocean remains comparatively hotter, right, or warmer. Now the differential happens, right, in the reverse direction, right? So here the land become more cooler, that means high pressure, and the ocean remains warmer, that means low pressure. So from land towards the ocean, right, the wind started blowing. So that is in the form of northeastern monsoonal winds. Okay, so that is the reason of the monsoon, or evolution of the monsoon on the Indian subcontinent. Okay, now the intertropical convergence zone, this is basically found in the tropical areas where basically the trade winds converge, where the trade winds converge. So you have the northeastern trade winds and you have basically the southeastern trade winds. These trade winds basically converge, right? So this intertropical convergence zone is basically a zone where you will have the movement of the monsoonal winds. Okay, the intertropical convergence zones is also the elongated low pressure zone, which is only found in the summer season, and that too it shift, right, its position over the Ganga plain and causes the rainfall over Gangetic plains. Okay, now this is also known as equatorial trough, or trough means elongated low pressure. Trough means equatorial low, trough means elongated low pressure, which is generally positioned at around 5 degrees north of equator. That means this is basically the latitude. This is basically latitude, okay, of 5 degrees north from the equator. Okay, so it is basically positioned at 5 degrees north of the equator, and it is sometimes also known as monsoonal trough because it is an elongated low pressure zone. Wherever this trough moves, the monsoonal pattern or the movement of the monsoonal winds also will follow their track all along the intertropical convergence zone. Intertropical convergence zone. Okay, now regarding the monsoon, the presence of high pressure area east of Madagascar. Now, as if I draw the diagram, you have seen the diagram. This is India's peninsula. This is basically equator. Okay, and this is basically equator, and this is basically your southern hemisphere, right? Here you have somehow the Madagascar, which is the island. Okay, from the Madagascar, what happens is the winds, the all around the Madagascar, or east of the Madagascar, you will have basically the high pressure zone. Now this high pressure zone, because of your Madagascar, right, causes the winds to blow from high pressure to the low pressure. And whenever the wind basically comes here, you can see this diagram here itself. Okay, you can see this diagram here itself. So you will have the high pressure because of the Madagascar, east of Madagascar, right, and which basically causes the movement of the winds from the high pressure to the low pressure region. Okay, which causes the movement of the winds, right, in that direction. So which causes the movement of the winds in that direction, and intensity of the position of high pressure area affect the Indian monsoon also. The high is, or the greater is the high pressure zone east of the Madagascar, right, the greater will be the intensity of the rainfall, right, in terms of Indian monsoon. Okay, during summertime, what happens is the Tibetan plateau, which is the tableland. Okay, this plateau got heated up, right, very intensively during the summer, and an elongated low pressure zone is created. Now what happens because of heat? Now what happens? A low pressure zone is created. This results in the strong vertical air currents. Okay, a strong vertical air currents basically started flowing from the Tibetan plateau. Okay, and the basically elongated low pressure zone is created, right, which is around 9 kilometers above the mean sea level. This elongated low pressure, right, attracts the rain bearing winds from the southern hemisphere. Okay, now as I told you, there are also the subtropical westerly jet stream. Okay, whenever this subtropical westerly jet stream moves to the north of the Himalaya, right, move to the north of the Himalaya, that means that shows that there is, the onset of the southwestern winds. So whenever there is movement of the westerly jet stream to the north of the Himalaya, indicate that monsoon has arrived. The monsoon has arrived. And what happens is, instead of westerly jet stream, the tropical easterly jet stream started blowing over Indian peninsula during summertime, and which also affect the intensity and the temporal variations of the rainfall also, right? Because of easterly jet stream, right, different rain bearing winds also enter into the Indian peninsula. So the withdrawal of the westerly jet stream to the north of the Himalaya basically affect the monsoon, right? It basically indication of that monsoon has arrived, right? And subsequently the tropical easterly jet stream stationed over the Indian peninsula, right, on the during the summer month, and that causes rainfall. Okay, now there is also certain changes which we have noticed apart from these regions. For example, the pressure conditions over southern oceans. These pressure condition over southern oceans also affect the monsoons, right? For example, you have the southern oscillation. You have the southern oscillation, that is the concept which basically explain this pressure condition over southern ocean. For example, if you see the map, I'm just drawing here the two section of the Pacific Ocean. I'm drawing first of all the tropical Pacific Ocean, right? Because if you see this way, you will have first of all the tropical South Pacific Ocean, okay, and you have the tropical Eastern Indian Ocean. Okay, that thing you can take an example of around your basically South America. Okay, and this thing you can take around Australia. All right, so you take an example of South America and Australia. Now what happens is, right, we will take the pressure differential between these 2 points. Now what happens is, during the normal course of the time, when you have very high rainfall, or very good amount of the rain bearing winds, or very good monsoonal winds, what happens is, the wind basically, there will be obviously the high pressure zone created over the tropical South Pacific Ocean, right? This high pressure zone, right, causes the rain bearing winds to move towards the tropical Eastern Indian Ocean zone, which is basically located at the low pressure zone. So the rain bearing winds basically blow from the high pressure zone of tropical South Pacific Ocean towards the tropical Eastern Indian Ocean zone, right, which causes the rainfall in the Indian subcontinent also, which enhance the intensity of the rainfall. And during that year, we will have the high amount of rainfall. Okay, right. Then what happens is, this condition may be reversed. So this phenomena we call ENSO, or this phenomena we call basically the La Nina. La Nina means you will have the very high rainfall on the Indian subcontinent. Okay, then there is also phenomena called basically that we call El Nino. What is El Nino? The reverse condition occur. In the reverse condition, what happens is, there is high pressure zone created over the tropical Eastern Indian Ocean, and there is a low pressure created over the tropical South Pacific Ocean. So during La Nina, this situation occur, and during El Nino, the high pressure zone created over there. Okay, so the rain bearing wind basically blows from the high pressure zone to the low pressure zone, which causes the rain bearing winds to move away from the Indian Ocean, and which causes very low amount of rainfall on the Indian subcontinent. And that is basically the phenomena called El Nino. This reversal, or this periodic changes of the pressure conditions, is also known as southern oscillation. So you will see basically the southern oscillation is something which is basically, we can say that the tropical South Pacific Ocean will have high pressure, right, and the tropical Eastern Indian Ocean will have the low pressure. This condition would amount to good rainfall on the Indian subcontinent. Okay, and when this reversal happens, that means on the tropical Eastern Indian Ocean you will have very high pressure, and the tropical South Pacific Ocean, if you have the low pressure, right, the movement of the wind from high pressure to the low pressure, you will have, right, differential changes in the pressure condition, and this periodic changes in the pressure condition will be explained in the form of southern oscillations. Okay, let's understand about El Nino southern oscillation. I've explained you, right, that we have taken the reference as the Tahiti, because you are taking basically the tropical Eastern Pacific Ocean. Okay, so you take Tahiti over the Pacific Ocean. This is the coordinate of the Tahiti. Okay, and you take the Port Darwin or the Darwin in the northern Australia. Okay, it is the coordinate of Darwin. So there are two different, reference point we have taken. On the Pacific Ocean we have taken Tahiti, and on the Australia we have taken Darwin, right? And we will try to compute the pressure differential, right, between these 2 points that predict the intensity of the monsoon over Indian subcontinent. Same thing happens here. If the pressure difference are negative, right, that means there will be late monsoon or low monsoon will be there. Pressure difference is negative means you will first of all find out the pressure. You will calculate the pressure differential is equal to the pressure difference between, if you take the Pacific Ocean, okay, or you say Tahiti, okay, and pressure difference between Darwin. Okay, when you say that the pressure at Darwin, the pressure is Darwin is greater than pressure at Tahiti. Now what happens is there will be negative pressure differential. There will be negative pressure differential. So the pressure will be negative. Now what will happen is there will be late monsoon or there will be below average monsoon. Okay. This is basically explained in the form of El Nino. El Nino. The El Nino phenomena is explained in the form of southern oscillation. Okay. So here you have to see basically the Peruvian coast. Peru is the country, right? So what happens is in the Peruvian coast, right? Normally the warm oceanic currents basically flows, right? Now, sorry. Now what happens is in the Peruvian coast you have the cold Peru current which flows, okay? Or it is also called Humboldt current. It is also called Humboldt current. Humboldt current, or it is also known as Peru current. Peru current, both are considered as cold current. Both are considered as a cold current, right? During normal time, these currents all along the Peruvian coast basically flows as a cold current, Now what happens is during El Nino, this colder current is replaced. This colder current is replaced by the warm current, right? And this reversal that happens, right? The replacement of the cold current by the warm current happens in the interval of around 2 to 5 years, right? This causes the changes in the pressure conditions, because you understand, first of all, I said if there is a cold current, that means you will have the high pressure. Where high pressure? You will have the high pressure in Pacific Ocean. That means from Pacific Ocean towards Indian Ocean, from high pressure to the low pressure, good rainfall. Okay. If there is, instead of cold current, if you have the warm current, okay, what happens during the warm current? You will have low pressure. Where? In the Pacific Ocean. That means the wind will blow from Indian Ocean towards Pacific Ocean. That means the rain bearing winds basically blow away from the Indian Ocean. That means the Indian subcontinent will receive very insignificant amount of rainfall. So which is also the cause of the concern here, Okay. So this El Nino phenomena occurs on the interval of around 2 to 5 years, okay, which causes very low amount of rainfall or late rainfall on the Indian subcontinent. Okay. The changes in the pressure conditions which are connected to the El Nino, hence phenomena is known as sometime El Nino southern oscillation, or it is also known as the ENSO. ENSO means El Nino southern oscillation, which is a basically concept derived from the changes in the pressure conditions due to the removal of this cold current and substituted by the warmer current, right? Which basically causes the changes in the pressure conditions and which affect the pressure conditions over there. All right. Next, the onset and the withdrawal of the monsoon. This is again very important. What is onset and what is withdrawal? So first of all, when you say onset means the rain bearing winds or the monsoon winds just has arrived. Okay. but you must understand the onset is very sudden. The onset is the phenomena when the rain bearing winds just arises or arrived, which stuck on the Indian peninsula, right? So this onset is very sudden. Onset is sudden. Suddenly on the 1st of June or every year, the onset occur. But withdrawal is basically a gradual phenomena. It is a gradual phenomena. Okay, it is a gradual phenomena of the monsoon. Okay, so you must understand the trade winds that we are talking about, they are pulsating in the nature, or the monsoonal winds, they are pulsating in the nature. Okay, they come in the form of pulse. Okay, and they affected by the different atmospheric conditions also, right? For example, if the ocean is warmer, they will pick up the moisture, right? If it is comparatively colder, it won't pick up that much moisture. So depends on the atmospheric conditions. Okay, this you must understand. As the monsoon basically that you say onset, that means it's almost 1st of June or early June, the onset occurs. Okay, especially in the southern part of Indian peninsula, preferably if you say the tip of Kerala. So on the 1st of June every year, on the tip of Kerala, the onset of the monsoon occur. The onset of the monsoon is very sudden, very sudden. Okay, this monsoon lasts for about 100 to 120 days. That means the monsoon started withdrawing by, you know, by mid-September. The monsoonal winds have been withdrawn from the Indian landmass. Okay. Now the rain, as I said, the rain bearing winds or the monsoonal winds are basically pulsating in the nature. So what happens is rainfall increases suddenly. Okay, and it continued for several days, right, at the time of arrival of the monsoon. Okay, now what happens is there is also break, or there is also the dry spells, right? The dry spells are basically between two, the rainy time, right? The discontinuity in the rainfall is basically shown with the help of the dry spell. Okay, the onset of the monsoon is basically also known as the burst of the monsoon. Burst means the the mechanism when the Indian monsoon basically impacted the tip of Indian peninsula. That is basically shown in the form of burst of monsoon. Okay, and it is different from pre-monsoon showers, okay, which are totally different. And after that you may have some sort of the dry spells, you may have the wet spells. So there may be alternative dry and the wet spells. It depends on various atmospheric conditions. Okay, let's understand about onset of the monsoon. So first of all, as I told you that the monsoon generally reaches to the southern tip of Indian peninsula. Okay, the southern tip of Indian peninsula means you will have the Kerala. Okay, preferably the first week of June. So tentative date is basically the June 1st every year, right? Sometime it also comes before June also. Sometime it delayed by 1 week, right? Sometimes June 7, June 8, June 10 also. Sometime it arises in the early also, in the month of May itself, late May also, right? It depends on weather conditions. Okay, now after striking the tip of southern tip, right, it basically bifurcated into two branches. For example, this is Indian peninsula, it impacted the tip. At that point it bifurcated into two. The first branch moves in this way, the second branch basically moved this way. So it is basically called the Bay of Bengal branch of southwestern monsoon, and it is known as the Arabian Sea branch of southwestern monsoon. It is also known as Arabian Sea branch of southwestern monsoon. Okay, so these are the two branches of southwestern monsoon. Okay, now these two branches basically move very rapidly. Okay, now the Arabian Sea branch, I'm talking about this branch basically advances north along the Western Ghats. So if I draw this one, you can reach basically the first branch reaches, this branch basically impacted this Western Ghats. Okay, then it reaches to the Mumbai by 10th of June, right? So here it crosses the Western Ghats and reaches the Mumbai by 10th of June. And soon the second wave of this branch basically entered through the Gujarat and basically covers the Saurashtra and the Kutch region also. Okay, and the centralmost part of Deccan Plateau also. Okay, so again the Arabian Sea branch is again bifurcated or trifurcated into three branches. The first branch impacted the Western Ghats, where you will have the orographic rainfall, right? Western Ghats having almost the hilly structure, where the rain bearing winds basically impacted the western side of Western Ghats, which causes very heavy rainfall. Okay, the another branch basically entered into the Mumbai and reaches to the Mumbai by 10th of June. Okay, another third branch of the Arabian Sea branch basically entered in the Saurashtra and the Kutch region, right? And the most part of Deccan Plateau, which basically also causes the rainfall over there. Okay. Now the Bay of Bengal branch, the second branch I'm talking about, this Bay of Bengal branch reaches the Assam in the first week of June. Okay, it reaches to the Assam, and now what happens is, after reaching to the Assam, over there at the border of Bangladesh, it deflected towards the west by the mountain ranges. These mountain ranges are called basically Arakan Yoma hills. Okay, they are found in the basically in the Myanmar. Okay, so by this mountain ranges Arakan Yoma, these winds basically deflected to the west and thus reaches to the Ganga plain and gave the rainfall. Now here you must understand that once it's deflected by to the west, it causes very heavy rainfall in the West Bengal, then Bihar, then UP, then Delhi, and reaches up to Rajasthan also. Now very heavy rainfall, slightly lower rainfall, slightly lower rainfall, slightly less rainfall, very less rainfall. So very heavy rainfall West Bengal due to this branch, slightly comparatively lesser rainfall, comparatively lesser than West Bengal, then some more lesser, then bit lesser, and very less amount of rainfall. So as you move from east direction to the west direction, the rainfall started decreasing. Okay, both the branches merge over northwestern part of Gangetic Plain. Okay, so the branch which is coming from this side and the branch which is entering through the Saurashtra and Deccan Plateau, both of these branches basically merged over the Ganga plain and basically causes the rainfall over Gangetic plains. Okay, now the Delhi receives the rainfall from the Bay of Bengal branch, this branch. Okay, so this Bay of Bengal branch, after covering, right, reaches to the Delhi and causes the rainfall, right, over the Delhi. Okay, by the end of June, tentatively 29th of June. So 29th of June around, you will have the rainfall from the Bay of Bengal branch. Okay, by the first week of July, the monsoon covers the western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and eastern Rajasthan. Okay, so this branches reaches to the western Uttar Pradesh, right, Punjab, Haryana, eastern Uttar Pradesh, and covers the rainfall in the first week of July. Okay, let's understand about withdrawal of the monsoon. So as I told you, withdrawal of the monsoon is gradual phenomena. It is a gradual phenomena. It is not a sudden phenomena. It is a gradual phenomena. Okay, it is also known as retreat of the monsoon. Okay, retreat of the monsoon. Okay, it basically begins normally the September, right, and it basically covers, right, completely almost, right, September to December. So from September to December, the monsoon completely withdrawal from Indian landmass. So you see, the process begins basically early September in the northwestern parts of the states. Okay, and if you say just the northern half of the peninsula, by mid-October it completely withdraw from northwestern part of Indian peninsula. Okay, and the southern half, which is left out as a peninsula land, right, the withdrawal is fairly rapid, right? By early December, almost monsoon has withdrawn from the rest of the country. But here the most important point is, from the withdrawal of the monsoon or from the retreat of the monsoon, the Coromandel coast, which is located at the coast of basically Tamil Nadu and adjoining Andhra Pradesh, receives the rainfall from the withdrawal or from the retreat of the monsoon, right? So here the rain bearing winds basically you know, causes the rainfall. What happens is these rain bearing winds are basically, they are dry, right, since they are originated from the land. So they basically, pick up the moisture from the Bay of Bengal. They pick up the moisture from the Bay of Bengal, right, and causes the rainfall all along the Coromandel coast, that is the coastal area located along the Tamil Nadu coast, on the eastern coastal plain, right, and the adjoining Andhra Pradesh also. Okay, then the onset and the withdrawal of the monsoon on the Indian islands. Indian islands, first of all, you have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, right, and you have basically the Lakshadweep group of islands. Okay, so you have Andaman group of islands, Andaman and Nicobar, okay, and you have Lakshadweep group of islands. Okay, so the islands receives the very first monsoon showers from the last week of April to the first week of May. Okay, so the monsoon showers occur, right, during the islands, because islands are located in the basically both in the Arabian Sea as well as in the Bay of Bengal region. So the monsoon showers occur, right, in the month of April itself, right, to the first week of May. So it is a transition period in which the monsoon showers occur. The withdrawal takes place progressively and gradually also from north to south. Obviously, when it engulfs the all islands, the withdrawal of the monsoon occurs progressively, okay, in the reverse direction. And almost by the first week of December, the monsoon completely withdrawn. Okay, and as you know, the rest of the country is already under influence of the winter monsoon, that is the northeastern monsoonal winds, which basically blows from land towards sea. Okay, now let's understand the important features of the monsoon. First of all, right, the monsoon is basically known for their uncertainties, because the India is basically an agricultural country. The agriculture is dependent on the monsoon. Okay, if monsoon is delayed, the agricultural operations also delayed. If monsoon is very heavy, the agricultural loss will also be heavy, right? If the timely monsoon is not there, obviously agricultural productivity disturbed. So that means there is the temporal variations. Temporal का मतलब होता है very simple, with the time. So there is temporal variation, and also there is spatial variation also. Spatial variation means with space or with distance. The variations occur in the monsoon. With temporal means with the time. So you will have the concentration of the monsoon occurs in just in 4 months. So in the just 4 months, 85% of the monsoonal rainfall occurs in the 4 months from June to September. Okay, and also in between there is alternation of the dry and the wet spells, okay, which vary in terms of their intensity, in terms of their frequency, in terms of their duration. So this alteration of the dry and the wet spells occur, right, and which basically affect the intensity, frequency, and the duration of the rainfall. Okay, sometime because of heavy rainfall, right, heavy floods also occur, right, and sometime because of the dry spells at some place of the time, there is also drought like conditions may occur. So again, temporal variation, spatial variations is very clearly shown here. Okay, and the irregular arrival and the retreat, right, because of El Nino, you will have the pressure differential, right, between the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean. If you have high pressure over the Pacific Ocean, there will be good rainfall. If there is a low pressure over Pacific Ocean, high pressure over Indian Ocean, there will be less rainfall or delay in the rainfall. Okay, which causes disruption, right, which causes disruption to the farming schedules. Sometimes it causes droughts in the certain areas of the country. So it affects the agricultural operations. It affects almost the economies of the India, because India's economy is dependent on the agriculture also. Okay, let's understand about the seasons also. Okay, so the seasons are the important characteristic of the monsoonal type of climate. Okay, so the seasonal pattern is basically are the important characteristics of monsoonal type of climate. Okay, and you understand that weather is basically the day-to-day changes in the basically elements of the weather, right? So the weather can be changed day-to-day basis, but the climate can be changed only for the longer period of the time. Say for we'll take an on and average for the climatic condition, we'll take 30 to 40 years of the average, but the weather condition of changes, right, very, on the day-to-day basis, on the hour-to-hour basis also. Now, the changes which occur are more noticeable in the interior part of the country. So in the interior part of the country, the changes are more noticeable. Okay. The coastal areas, there is no such variation in the temperature, because in the coastal areas, you will have the moderating influence. You will have the moderating influence of the basically ocean. The moderating influence of the ocean basically, cause the not much changes of the temperature in the coastal region. Okay. And there is also variation in the rainfall pattern also. So based on which we can say that there may be 4 seasons which are identified in India. The first is basically the cold weather season. The cold weather season is also comes in the month of November, December, and January, which is the winter time. Okay, so it basically begins right from mid-November and still stays till February. Okay, especially in the northern parts of India, right? When you see, you have also experienced that December and the January are the coldest months. Sometimes the temperature reaches to to the freezing point also. The temperature decreases from the south to north. So if you move just on the periphery of peninsula to the northern part of India, the temperature gradually started decreasing during during the winter time or the cold weather time, especially in the northern part of the India, especially in the northern part of India. Okay. If you go from the southern India to the northern India, the average temperature, if you see, the Chennai is the coastal area or the coastal city. The Chennai, the average temperature on and average remains 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, right, throughout the year. But the average temperature, if you see in the northern plains, this ranges basically 10 to 15 degrees Celsius during the cold weather season. So you see, during the winter, during the cold weather season, the Chennai temperature is 24 to 25 degrees Celsius, but in the northern plains, the temperature is around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now, during this season, the days are basically warm and nights are cold. Okay. So days are generally warm and the nights are cold, right? Freezing colds. Generally, what happens is the frost occurs in the northern plains, and that affects, right? Sometime, the crops also, right? And there is also the snowfall in the high mountainous regions. These snowfalls occur due to the western disturbances. Okay, it is also known as the extra tropical cyclones. This basically causes the snowfall on the higher reaches of the Himalaya, which is basically steered, right, because of the subtropical westerly jet, which basically blows from the Mediterranean Ocean towards the Indian Ocean, right, or towards the Indian landmass. So this subtropical westerly jet basically steers this western disturbances from the Mediterranean Sea, from the Red Sea, towards the Indian landmass, and it causes the snowfall in the mountainous regions of the Himalaya. And this snowfall is the reason of the perenniality of the rivers also, because during the lean season or during the summer season, right, when when there is lesser supply of the water from the rainfall, right, this snow would basically sustains the flow of the river, right, during the lean period of the time or during the summer period of the time, isn't it? So that is what is happening. So you have basically the western disturbances which causes the rainfall also in some places, but in the higher reaches of the mountainous regions of the Himalaya, you will have the snowfall. You will have the mainly snowfall. Okay. Then, as the northeastern trade winds blow during this period, right, most of the country remains dry and blow from land towards sea. Okay. The northeastern trade winds basically blow from land to sea. I've already explained you, right, because since they are blowing from the land to sea, so what happens is On the land, there is lesser amount of moisture, so the country remains almost dry, because they are blowing from land to sea. But during their move, now what happens is, if I draw the peninsular, the diagram, you can see basically here, okay, here. So it is basically the northeastern portion. When it blow from northeastern direction, this way, it picks the moisture and causes the rainfall here at the Coromandel coast. It causes the rainfall at the Coromandel coast due to the northeastern trade winds. Okay, so it causes the rainfall, and because it blows from the land towards the sea. Okay, the only rain occurs in the Tamil Nadu and the southern Andhra Pradesh is due to the picking of the moisture from the Bay of Bengal. It is the Bay of Bengal. So when this when these winds are basically dry, because they blows from the land towards the sea, right? They pick up the moisture from the Bay of Bengal, and these rain-bearing winds basically causes the rainfall over the Coromandel coast. The Coromandel coast is basically the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu and the southern Andhra Pradesh, which receives the rainfall majority from basically the majority from basically the basically northeastern monsoonal winds, or the basically retreating monsoon, during the retreating monsoon. All right, let's understand features of the cold weather season. What are the features of the cold weather season? The characteristic feature of the cold weather seasons are, first of all, since it is a cold weather, so a very feeble high pressure region develops in the northern part of the country. Very feeble, right? A high pressure region is created. Okay, now this high pressure region which is created, right, it is because of the relief. So this high pressure region is influenced by the relief. Okay, a light wind started moving outward from this area, because since high pressure zone is there, the high pressure zone, the wind will blow from high pressure zone towards the low pressure zone. So the light wind started moving outward from this high speed, from this high pressure zone. Okay, and these winds basically blow through Gangetic Valley from west to the northwest. Okay, so this basically, on the Gangetic Valley, this winds basically started blowing. Normally during the cold weather season, you have seen that the sky remains almost clear, the temperature remains low. You have experience, there is no need to explain. The sky remains clear, very less cloudy cover, because there is no cloud as such in the cold weather season. Okay, there is low temperature, obviously. There is low humidity also. Humidity is also very low, right? And the winds are not very strong, but winds are basically the feeble and the variable winds occur, right? These are the most important characteristic feature of the cold weather season. The cold weather season that occurs during, right, during from the month of November to February, right? Okay, now what happens is, during this cold weather season, there is an inflow of cyclonic disturbances from the west and northwest, right? So as I told you, these are the cyclonic disturbances, which are also known as, as I told you, the western disturbances, okay, which is also known as the extratropical cyclones, which are steered by the subtropical westerly jet. And these western disturbances, which are also known as cyclonic disturbances, reaches from Mediterranean Sea, from West Asia to the Indian landmass, right? The west of India, or the northwest portion of Himalaya. And at the higher reaches of the Himalaya, it causes the snowfall. And which sustains the flow of the river, especially the rivers which flow out from the Himalayan region. Okay, this cyclonic disturbances also causes the winter rains over the plains and the snowfall in the mountainous region, right? So in the plainer regions, it causes the rainfall also. Okay, the winter rainfall through its small amount is locally known as Mahavat. So Mahavat, you have heard about this word. It is basically known for the winter rainfall. Okay, so it is used for the cultivation of Rabi crops, right? So these rains are having immense utility in terms of the Rabi crops, which are generally grown, right, or sown in the month of, basically during the month of winter time. Okay, now in the peninsular region also has the moderating effect from the sea. The sea, because of the high humidity, right? It does not have, characteristic cold season, right? So all coastal areas do not have characteristic or well-defined cold season, because there is always a moderating effect, the moderating influence from the sea towards the, towards the coastal area, and which basically do not affect or do not affect the coastal area as such, because there is always a moderating influence over the coastal area, right? And there is hardly any noticeable changes in the temperature pattern over there. So the daily range of temperature, the annual range of temperature is also not very great, right? Because of the moderating influence of the ocean, especially in the coastal area, especially in the coastal areas. All right. Let's understand about the hot weather season. The hot weather season generally occurs during the month of summer. So this is basically, hot weather season occurs when the sun's apparent movement of the sun towards the north. So if I draw the figure, you will better understand. This is equator, this is tropic of Cancer, and this is tropic of Capricorn. Okay. So during summertime, what happens is the sun started moving towards the tropic of Cancer, right? In the northern hemisphere especially. So what happens is this increases the temperature, so that leads to the northward movement of the global heat belt, because the sun started moving towards the tropic of Cancer, right? So hot weather season generally starts in the month of March and last up to at the end of May. And after that you will have the rainy season, especially on the Indian lands by the southwestern monsoon, right? So which basically in the form of southwestern monsoon. Okay. Now let's understand the features of the hot weather season. What are the features? The most important characteristic feature of the hot weather season is basically, the temperature of the northern part of India goes up, right? This temperature basically goes up to the 50 degrees Celsius. Okay. And the atmospheric pressure, since temperature remains very, very high, so the pressure remains very, very low. So pressure remains low, temperature remains very high. Okay. Basically here in the northern part of India. Okay. Here now the summer months also experience rising temperature and the falling air pressure. That is what I said. So temperature is proportional to the pressure. High temperature, low pressure, low temperature, high pressure. So it is inverse relationship. Okay. Now by the end of the May, now what happens is, because of the rain bearing winds and all sort of, the differential changes in the pressure, that elongated low pressure areas develops, right, in the region from the Thar Desert in the northwest to the Patna. This elongated low pressure zone, basically attracts the rain bearing winds. This elongated low pressure zone extends from the Thar deserts to the Patna to the Chota Nagpur plateau in the east and the southeast direction. And this results, right, the attraction of the winds, right, from the oceanic area, right? And this is basically in the form of southwestern monsoonal winds, which basically occur during the rainy season. Okay. Now, during that point of the time, the hot and the gusty and dry winds basically blow. If you have ever experienced these winds, basically specifically in the Rajasthan region, it is also known as Loo. They are very, very, very gusty, very dry, very high temperature, right? It can be fatal also. And it cause, burn like sensation also, right? Very dehydrating also, right? So here, these winds basically blows during this season in the northern and northwestern part of India, right? It even causes the death if person is exposed to it for the longer period of the time, right? During that point of the time, the dust storms also are very common, right? Because of this elongated low pressure, specifically in the month of May. Okay. And they bring the temporary relief from the heat by lowering the temperature, and it may cause the light rain and the cold breezes also sometime. Okay. So whenever these dust storms occur, they are basically soothing in the nature, and that basically, somewhat, brings the rainfall, and that basically lowers the temperature of the region also. Okay. So we are basically binding our class here, and we will continue the few leftover slides in our next class. Okay. So we are binding here itself, and we'll find out and we'll cover up the remaining slides in the next class. Thank you very much for attending this session. Thank you.